Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Code 1159 Selfwinding with a white gold case and smoked blue dial. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history of the Code 1159, then talk to you about where this watch stands in the lineup, then talk to you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start. The Code 1159 came out approximately in 2018 or 19, and so that makes it approximately 5 years old. It's the newest of the Audemars Piguet lineup. Before this, AP had the Royal Oak, the Offshore, and the Concept, and the Millenary was just getting phased out at that time. And they had to replace it with a circular watch because they didn't have any circular watches. Those other three I mentioned to you, those are actually all offshoots or derivatives of the Royal Oak, which is their most famous line, which was produced in 1972. That's when it was released. But AP needed a line of watches that was circular because circular is the traditional watch. So they came up with the Code 1159. Now, those other three that I mentioned to you, the Royal Oak started it all, and then not long after, I think 20 years after, came the Offshore in the 90s. And then not long after that, in the 2000, the Concept was derived from the Offshore. So they're all evolutions of one that all came from the Royal Oak. And then there was no circular watch. So then in approximately, let's call it 2020, another 10 years after that, or 20 years after the Concept, then you have the first circular watch by AP. Well, first circular modern watch by AP. And you might be wondering, well, how does this circular watch have any of the DNA tied with the Royal Oak? I'll show you that when we get to the case of this watch. So I really think they did a great job, and I'll explain to you why as we go along. Okay, so that's a little bit about the history. Well, let me say also about the history. When the watch was first released, it was not well received. It could be for a number of reasons. Anytime you change up your style or change up what you've been doing, you can get some criticism. It didn't do that well, but it is definitely doing well now. And it's not their most popular line, but it's certainly a line that does quite well for AP, and that can be seen by its secondary market prices, along with the number of offerings they have in this model. When a model doesn't do well, they don't make a lot of them, or they don't make many different offerings of it. But they have made a lot of offerings for it, a lot of variations of it, because it's done quite well. Okay, all right, so that is a little bit about the history. Now let me talk about where this one stands in the lineup. This is just a time and date only. That makes it the simplest of the codes because it has only time and date. Now AP makes many different variations of it. They make a chronograph, they make an annual a perpetual calendar, a tourbillon, a minute repeater, which they call a grand sonnerie or something like that. And then they make some ultra complicated ones. Actually, as I understand, it's the most complicated watch in the world at the moment. They've taken that crown, and also the simplest to use. It can all be done through the crown and some push buttons, but they call it the Universal or something like that. And it's a very expensive, it's the top of the line AP, and they put it as a code. So anyways, the code, there's a lot of different lineup. What you're looking at here is the most basic. Now they make it in many different variations, of course, and many different variations. Okay, and what you're looking at here though is white gold. All right, now let's start talking about the watch itself. Let's start with the case. Now the case is going to be made out of white gold. That's what the BC represents, and it's 41 millimeters. From my thumb to my index finger, it actually looks large. It looks not so large, even though it's 41, which is a nice dress size. AP is not known for making small watches, so 41, it's a nice size. And what you'll notice that the case is probably the most intricate and beautiful case I've ever seen on a circular watch. And why do I say that? Well, in typical AP fashion, they've done an amazing job on the polish. But if you look carefully at this, when you look at it from the front, it just looks like a circular watch. But as you start to turn the watch, you'll notice that the case is amazing. You have a high polish alternating between a brush finish, right? And then you have all these facets and holes on the lugs, which take a lot more work. And then if you look a little bit carefully at the center of the case that holds the movement, you'll actually notice that it's an octagon, and that's paying homage to the DNA that it originated from, which is the royal oak. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video, you might wonder, where does this circular watch come from? Did they just make a circular watch? Yes, they did make one, but they tied the DNA into the royal oak, which I think is a fantastic, really smart idea. So whoever came up with this idea to put sort of a royal oak center case in the middle of it, and then put the case put it on a circular case, it's a genius idea. And if you notice the middle case here, it also has amazing polish. It's alternates between high polish and brush finish. And if you look at the way that it looks, it's just, there's all these different angles and facets to it that really make the watch look really expensive and really nice. And it's no surprise that AP, a premier watch brand, top 3 in the world, AP, Patek, and Rolex, that they would do something like that because they are AP. And they're a fantastic brand. Okay, so the case is really something to behold. All right, now that's the case, and that's how it ties into the previous generations. Now let's talk about the bezel. Now the bezel actually is not much to talk about. They got rid of the bezel. Now, why did they do that? Well, it's to provide more space for the dial. So kind of like the edge of a telephone, where you look at the telephones nowadays don't have bezels. The screen goes to the very end, and they try to keep this thing modern, keep a big face on it, so the dial goes to the very end. And that's what you see here. Okay, so that's a great way to, it's just a fantastic way to present the dial, is by limiting the size of the bezel. Now, I don't normally talk about the crystal, but let's talk about the crystal since we're talking about all the parts of this. This is actually a double-sided, curved, glare-proof crystal. It's the most advanced crystal I've ever seen on a watch. Usually the crystal is just flat, and yes, they provide a UV coating on both sides to make it so that it's glare proof, so you can see the dial in any condition. But AP takes it a step further by making the glass curved from the 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, such that if you look at it from an angle, you can still see what time it is. It actually curves it so that the dial seems bigger to you, even though you've turned it away from your face. It's like a marvel of engineering, and to put this on all their codes, it's incredible. And I just suspect that they may do this on other of their watches, and it takes a lot more work to have a curved crystal than it does to have a flat crystal. How much work, I don't know, but it seems like quite a bit. Okay, now let's move on to the dial. Now this part is really special, actually, I have to say. What is actually special about it is that the dial is not just flat blue or flat black. What they've done here is they've made a smoked blue lacquered dial with a sunburst pattern. And they've done a white gold applied hour markers along with the applied Audemars Piguet written out. So it looks just fantastic. And you don't really see this kind of smoked blue dial in any other watch. Well, AP does it but they don't do it often, and it's a really beauty to behold. It goes black toward the edges. Okay, now let's move on to the strap here. Now the strap is on this black canvas strap. It's actually a rubber coated strap. Okay, so it looks like a canvas strap, but it's actually rubber. And they've made this canvas to look like rubber, or they made the rubber to look like canvas. So it looks like canvas, but it's actually not canvas, it's actually rubber. Now, you can also change it to a black leather strap or blue leather strap if you want. And that's actually how it originally came when it was first introduced, but AP soon realized that it looks better, more sporty, even though it's a dress watch, to be put on this canvas strap as opposed to leather. But you know what? People put it on a leather strap too because it makes the watch look dressy. So it's on a circular watch you can change the bracelet and to suit your need. Okay, both of them look good. I can't say which looks better. Now it does have a 18 karat white gold pin buckle, which I like. It's kind of like a belt buckle, not a deployant. I like that because it is it's safe and it's not a lot of moving parts. It's nice. Okay, that's the buckle. Now let's talk about the movement. The movement, now AP redesigned all their movements, and this is a caliber 4302. It has longer power reserve of 70 hours, and it has 257 parts. Anyways, it's a very nice movement. Just look at it yourself and you can tell that it's nicely done, as you could expect. And I love that it's an open case back, so you can admire it. It has a great rotor that's all cut out and looking beautiful like this. Okay, so anyways, that's the movement. Now let's go ahead and try this watch on. I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds with a 7.5 inch wrist, and you can see the watch looks fantastic. I really admire the Code. I think it's definitely here to stay, and I really like it. So, and at this price point, the watch is retailing for $34,400, but we're selling it at Jazz Time in the 20s, the low 20s actually. So the Codes are the only watch that AP sell that are actually selling below retail. All their other ones are selling above retail. So it's really an opportunity for those who want to get into the brand and don't want to pay retail or more to actually pay below retail. And you can only get that at jazztime.com. So if you want to buy this watch, click on the link in the description below to do it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in Jazz Time, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.